This video is brought to you by my Patreon pledges. Help create content by pledging today.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to tell you, 5 reasons as to why people, both hearing and deaf, do not actually believe that I am deaf. And I say both hearing and deaf people because I, as well as others, have had both of these types of people tell us that we're not deaf or not deaf enough. If you are new to the channel and are interested in more deaf awareness videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so that you will be notified of new videos. So now, whether it's I am in a collab video with a hearing person or I am just sitting here making videos or involved in anything, really, here are the 5 reasons why some people do not believe that I am deaf. 1. I mostly speak. If you are not aware, I grew up mainstream. We found out that I had a significant amount of hearing loss when I was 11, although it could have been a thing that was before I was 11, but it was just now being noticed then, and so I just grew up speaking before then, and I continued to be in public schools, mainstream schools, and continue speaking. There was no ASL in my life, although I did try to learn it by myself from time to time, but because I was the only deaf person that I really knew besides my biological mother, who also grew up mainstreamed, I just really never found a reason to continue learning ASL, and it never really stuck. And I never even knew that there was a deaf school not that far away from me until it was way too late. My parents knew about it, but I did not know about it. Now, according to the statistic that I have seen, others may have seen different ones, but just from the ones that I have seen and the people that I have talked to, even people who grew up in more of the community than I did, more deaf people are mainstream than there are not mainstream deaf people. So you'll find a lot of us do end up talking, whether it's that we only use oral communication or it's a mixture of both, or, possibly later in life we might switch. It depends. But yeah, so I am way more comfortable using English as I grew up with that language. It's much easier for me to express my thoughts, especially in a video. I am more comfortable using ASL in a more casual, with other people environment, but in videos like this, it's so difficult for me to really get my thoughts out smoothly, especially with brain fog and forgetting vocabulary. Number 2, I'm not fluent in ASL. I have actually had comments from deaf people before in my videos, or they'll share my videos and then comment on their own post among themselves. Yes, I do see that, just let you know. And the comments will say, you're not really deaf because your signing is terrible, or it sucks, things like that. And I'm just like, nobody came out of the womb fluent in sign language, so I don't understand that there. Unless it's some secret that I never really knew about before, because y'all don't let me in on it, that y'all just come out of the womb fluent in sign language, which that would absolutely be amazing, actually. I wish that was a thing. But yeah, I'm not the most fluent in ASL. I didn't really start seriously learning it until about 4 years ago, and even then, using it is kind of comes and goes because I am not in a community 24/7 like others. I was not born into a community, and I have not have the privilege of being able to move into a community where I am surrounded by it constantly. And this is the case for a lot of other people who are mainstreamed. I have been trying to incorporate more signing in my videos, especially this month, as you may have noticed if you've been around for a bit this month, but a girl gets nervous. 3, I have residual hearing, as if you look at the stats, many of us do. So I will find comments under my videos or on Facebook posts, or, people have discussions amongst themselves on their social media. So-and-so, she's not really deaf, this person isn't really deaf because they can hear a little bit, etc., etc. When, if you look up the scientific fact, many of us kind of already do, so I don't really understand why this creates sort of a fiasco. So deafness is a spectrum, so there are people who might hear deeper sounds a lot better or higher pitched sounds a lot better. I'm one that hears the deeper tones a lot better. I have friends who have less hearing than me, but they can hear certain sounds that I can't, and then, just flip that right around. And then people who have better hearing than me, they won't be able to hear some sounds like that I somehow might be able to hear every once in a while, you know? It's just how it is. And when I'm doing collabs with hearing YouTubers, and that gets mentioned, and when I'm doing collabs with hearing YouTubers, this becomes a very popular type of comment because at some point I might be able to understand what so-and-so is saying. Mostly because we plan this ahead of time, so I kind of already have an idea of what's going to be said, so I follow along a little bit better. It is what it is. There is a bit of a thing where people really want people to get really specific about labeling themselves as deaf or hard of hearing. A lot of people would be like, no, you're hard of hearing, you're not really deaf, but a lot of us who are deaf want to say deaf, and some of us want to say hard of hearing, and it's not up to anybody but ourselves. It's up to us how we identify. Only we know what our hearing is like. Nobody else does. Somebody may go, oh, you speak? You can't be deaf. And this comes from both sides, and it's never really made any sense to me. 4. I personally do not wear hearing aids or a cochlear implant, and that somehow gets people thinking that deaf people who don't wear hearing aids or cochlear implants are not actually deaf. Many of us don't wear hearing aids. I even have a whole video on whether or not I would if I'm interested in it. Many factors go into the decision of wearing a hearing aid or a cochlear implant, whether it's for financial reasons, personal reasons, or both. But a hearing assisted device is not a requirement for being deaf or hard of hearing. It's not a part of uniform that we have to wear. And because of those sort of comments, I did create a line, a Do I Look Deaf Now line on a post-it, and it's on shirts, mugs, etc., etc. So if you're deaf or hard of hearing and you are interested in that, I will have a link to my merch store down below. And 5, which does kind of tie into number 4, there are people who don't believe that I am deaf because I simply do not look deaf, or I am too pretty to be deaf. Both lines, I believe, were featured in my hearing people say video. None of us deaf people, I guess, really know what being deaf is supposed to look like. I mean, the use of a hearing assisted device like a hearing aid or a cochlear implant might help because people see it and get an idea, but other than that, we don't get it. To this day, about 4 years later since I made that hearing people say video, I and others have no idea what deafness is supposed to look like. What does it look like? Please tell us. And also the you're too pretty to be deaf. 1, I don't get it, and 2, that's so insulting. In your eyes, Mr. Anonymous, does that mean that only ugly people are deaf? Does that mean deaf people are supposed to be ugly? That's rude, and it makes no sense. You can be pretty, attractive, average looking, whatever, and be deaf. And those are the 5 reasons as to why there are people, both hearing and deaf, who do not believe that I am deaf. And I'm sure that other deaf and hard of hearing people can relate, and I'm sure that you all have maybe had other reasons, other things said to you from people. So if you have any more reasons as to why people might not believe that you are deaf or hard of hearing, please leave them down in the comments below. If you would like to help translate this video, I would very much appreciate it. It is always a really big help. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video, and I will see you later.